Hello and welcome to the Battle Line Podcast, where we have conversations on that collision of space between community, faith, and culture. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Satterley, and here with me today is the Director of Publications,
Matt, you're too much.
My co-host on this podcast and my co-host in life, Jamie Satterley. Jamie, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. It's like that perfect stage where, I call it fake fall. That's what it is in the South. It's just enticing you until the next heat wave comes through. But listen, I'm going to enjoy it while I can.
Pumpkin spice lattes at the beach. That's fake fall. Also, we have with us here today our co-host, producer, our national media manager. I forgot you changed her.
Yes, media and marketing manager.
Hey-o, add that extra
Don't
M.
sleep on Elizabeth. She is handling all the business.
The one who makes this whole thing run, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, how are you doing today?
I am so super swell. How are you?
All right. We've got lots of alliteration, multimedia manager and super swell. Jamie, what's going on today?
So today we're going to talk about a partnership between the Salvation Army and the Boys and Girls Club. And this is going to look a little bit different depending on what part of the country that you're in. But today we have some very special guests with us. From the Southern Territory, we have Mark Jeffrey and Roberta Simmons-Smith, who maintain that partnership for the Salvation Army in the Southern Territory. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. We're so glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Doing great. We're doing swell as well.
Super swell. So
super swell.
Superior.
All right. So first question, tell us a little bit about yourselves. How long have you worked for the Salvation Army? What position? What do you do for the Salvation Army? How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been a Salvationist my whole life. My parents are retired Salvation Army officers, so I know the Army well. And, of course, I'm married to Sue Ann. And we both live in Snellville. We have 3 wonderful boys. And currently what I do for the Salvation Army is I'm the territorial director for our Boys and Girls Club programs in the USA Southern Territory. And I have been in this position now for 11 years. Prior to that, I ran a Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs in Asheville, North Carolina. Beautiful part of the country. Absolutely loved it. And there with my corps officer, he and I worked together. We were a really great team. We were able to open up 5 club sites in that community and expand the mission of the Salvation Army through our Boys and Girls Club program.
Roberta, how about you?
Well, I am a 5th generation Salvationist, and I'm getting close to 20 years working with the Salvation Army, which is kind of crazy. But right now, my role is Territorial Operations Director for the Partnership of Boys and Girls Club and Grants Manager as well. So that's really exciting. I've had the opportunity to work at a corps level, a divisional level, now here in USA South on a territorial level. And so I feel like I've dipped in all of the different areas of the Salvation Army organization. And this really blows my mind, this partnership. So we're really excited to share it today.
Roberta, I think you say 20 years now. So that very first, I guess when you came down and you were at a youth councils, right? That's 20 years ago.
Don't bring that up.
So I was just thinking when you were
There's
talking,
no
I was
visuals.
like, hey.
There's no visuals here.
That's
don't
right.
worry.
I don't have any pictures. I don't have any photographic evidence. But I think I was at that youth councils, that very first one.
Yeah, dressed as a nun.
Yes, that's so fun. Also, now I feel very old.
I forgot about the dress like a nun.
Oh,
That got me.
Get off the stage.
I wasn't ready. Go ahead,
right.
Jamie. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, we'll move it along. Somebody somewhere, I'm sure, has a photo of Roberta dressed as a nun, but it's not me. All right. So, of course, our listeners know if you've been with us since the beginning of the podcast, you'll know that we have a bunch of different partnerships, great relationships with all kinds of companies and organizations who kind of help support our mission. So today we want to learn a little bit about that partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. So can you tell us a little bit about the partnership itself and why it's so important?
So sure, I'd be happy to start. First, I think it's important to kind of define, what Boys and Girls Clubs of America is and how that kind of differentiates from what an actual Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club actually does. So the Salvation Army in the South, we partner with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And Boys and Girls Clubs of America, they don't actually serve kids directly. They serve clubs, so clubs can serve kids at their full capacity. But as a member agency, the Salvation Army operates what we call Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs, which we are fully responsible for. We are bound to Boys and Girls Clubs of America through their membership requirements and the services that they provide us. So basically, Boys and Girls Clubs of America provides an operating framework we use to operate chartered after school and summer day camp programs for kids who need that type of program. So it's a fully operational Salvation Army owned and operated gig, so to speak. We just partner to use their resources and their framework, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So tell us how did this partnership get started? Like, what's sort of the history of this? Did we come to them? Did they come to us? And then when you answer this, can you also tell us, Mark, about how many Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs are there currently in the Southern Territory? Two-part question.
Sure. Well, our answer, there are about 81 in the Southern Territory right now, 81 club sites. The history actually goes back as far as 1918 that we have a record of. There's actually a war cry article called All the World Loves a Boy, which is about serving boys clubs in industrial centers of New York in the early 1900s. And I use the word All the World Loves a Boy just as a historical note. Boys and Girls Clubs of America did not actually start serving girls until 1990. So that was a big change for their movement. But in 1960, the Southern Territory began to have what we would call an official partnership with Boys and Girls Clubs of America through an agreement that basically just kind of outlines our structure and how we fit within what we would call a Boys and Girls Club model, because there are some differences.
Very cool. I didn't know it was that. Since 1918, geez, for sure.
Ancient.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed that early, but that's fascinating. And now I'm going to have to go see if I can find that article in our archive.
Mark has it.
I send it to you.
Oh, do you? You've got it?
Yes.
I do. Colonel Hopwood actually found it for me. He's a historical guy.
Yes.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So why should Salvationists care about this partnership? I mean, what's the benefit of partnering with them versus just saying, like, a core saying, you know what, I'm just going to set up an after-school program or a club and kind of do this in my own? What's the value of partnering with the organization?
Well, to that I say, why not? Because there's more reasons why you should than there is for reasons why you shouldn't. So what really blew my mind, because I was in program, with the Salvation Army for years and seeing all the Salvation Army organizational side of things. Then when I came on board and learned about the world of the Boys and Girls Club of America and everything that they offer, I was just blown away. So here we are, oftentimes as Salvationists, treading water, trying to get new stuff, trying to get quality programs up and running, and looking for ways to offer great things for our kids, whether it be an after-school program or whatever it is, or get people into the church. And here, Boys and Girls Club of America have amazing quality programs already built in that you have full access to when you become part of that partnership. And then your world opens up to all this great things that's already done for you, and money, and all, because they have money to make these things quality too. And then you have access to all of those things. And automatically, because of the reputation of both the Salvation Army and Boys and Girls Club of America, people see that and they come into the doors. So you have kids, you have members, you have people who are there 5 days a week, not just once for core cadets or something like that, but you're 5 days a week after school with quality programming, and you have them there in your space. So it's just a no-brainer. Why not?
For sure. I mean, that's I love what you just said there, Roberta. That nailed it. For the most part, we have our kids in Salvation Army programming maybe 2 hours a week. Right? An hour on Sunday, an hour on youth night. But when you have a Boys and Girls Club, an after-school program through that, you have them every single day. That's awesome. Mark, what about you, sir?
Well, for me, it always kind of comes back to mission, right? That is the same for any nonprofit. It's no different for the Salvation Army. Our mission has two components. We preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we meet human needs in his name without discrimination. Those two things are being met through Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club programs. We teach kids about Jesus, and we provided a much needed program in the community for families and children. People are looking for places for their kids to go because they know that the streets are not the best place for their kids to be. So, we live in a tough economic time. Parents are looking for a value. A Boys and Girls Club program is a value because we go into the community and we raise money for kids who need it most so we can level the playing field and, they have some hope and a chance at life as well. So for me, it comes down to mission. Are we meeting our mission? And we're absolutely meeting our mission. So
awesome. So there are 81 current partnerships between the Salvation Army and Boys and Girls Club in the South. We know that in the other territories, they're beginning that partnership, beginning to grow. I know that there are many core out there that are hoping, and not just in the Southern Territory, but in the other U.S. territories, to really get a Boys and Girls Club program started, a partnership started at their core. So here's our question to you. And this is the Price is Right normal question, right? What's the process? How, if somebody's really interested in this and they want to learn more, what could they do? And I guess our question is, can there be a core that is too small to have one of these? You think these Boys and Girls Clubs have to be in larger cities, places like that. So is there a church? Is there a core? Is there a city? Is there a community you would say?
Is there a threshold?
Yeah,
a minimum.
That's just too small. And if somebody's interested, how can they find out? Is it feasible to do this?
So to try to answer your question around is a core or a community too small, that's actually a really tough question to answer directly. But I think the answer really is what we need to kind of ask ourselves is can the community, are they willing and able to help sustain such a program? And what I will say to you is probably 99.999% of every community
That's a lot of nice.
in the U.S. probably has the desire to get behind their youth.
For sure.
Because, people in business, they know that the kids are our future. They care about their cities and their economy and their tax base, those types of things. So that sort of hopefully answers your question a little bit. It really comes down to the ability of that community to support it.
Does it have to be a club? If I want to start one of these, do I have to have a fellowship hall in my core that I can bring some stuff into?
Not necessarily. We operate clubs in schools in some instances when we can't have a facility based in our own building. But I will tell you this, for those that are interested, we do have 3 different designations of operating models that we have. I'm not going to get into all the details on the call, getting in the weeds with it, but we have a unit. We have what we'd call an extension, and we would call what we call a community impact program. And all those kind of cascade down from level of structure and operating hours and those types of things. So, yeah, if you had a fellowship hall, there's a pretty good chance that they could probably be affiliated as a community impact program at the very minimum.
Can you share with us? I'm going to add a question in here on the fly.
Surprise! Here it comes.
But I know that you guys give these presentations, so I know, and not just that, you're there, you know these things. Can you tell us a success story, or just in all your visits to the club, a story that just kind of keeps you motivated and keeps you going on, why is this so important individually, not just for the Salvation Army, but in the life of that kid? Why is being at a Salvation Army club so important?
Well, we have a few, and we actually have done testimonial videos here that are available on Ministry Toolkit.
I'm glad to hear that you have a few success stories. I appreciate that. That's really
well. I'll pinpoint the 2 that you can actually go see videos about. But Daryl Crossland, who's in Florida, who's the ADMD in Florida now, he came through into the Salvation Army through a Boys and Girls Club program. And he did it to his parents, got him off the streets. That's why they put him in there. And it was a Salvation Army run Boys and Girls Club program. And it's because of that program that kept him coming, got him into the church, continued his journey along there with his brother, and now he's fully engaged and running a music and arts program in the Salvation Army. So there's that. We also have an officer couple who came through the program as well. Their kids went into the Boys and Girls Club program. It actually changed their lifestyle at home because he was heavy into addictions, and that whole impact of that program affected the whole family to the point, and that was the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club program, which then got them into the church, got them into recovery, got them on the path to officership, and now they're officers in the field in the Southern Territory. So their testimony is also very powerful.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, and I love. I mean, we have success stories of kids who aren't traditional Salvationists as well. But I got to tell you, I really am very interested now in our success stories of our Salvationists, particularly around Salvation Army officership. It's my understanding that all of our territories are really trying to recruit future Salvation Army officers, and so I believe that Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club program may not be the solve, but it has to be an input into helping solve that problem with future officers. And, Roberta just mentioned a couple, but we also have a couple in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where the wife, the lieutenant, she went through the Boys and Girls Club program in Shawnee, Oklahoma. So we need more of those alumni, Salvationist alumni in our Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs. And the way we make that happen is we open the Boys and Girls Club program, and then we get really good at loving people and showing them the love of the Salvation Army and having the Salvation Army officers involved in that program so those kids can see what the Salvation Army is all about. And they'll look up at these officers and they'll say, hey, I want to be just like you one day. And you just develop those relationships and those continuity of those relationships. And that's how it happens.
No, I love that. I think sometimes we have too maybe narrow a focus and we think like, okay, well, this is our job is to here to work with this kid. But we think about, that child. We don't always think about, oh, this program can be life-changing for a family who maybe at first their only interaction is dropping their kid off, picking their kid up. But over time, when those relationships are built, it can a program designed for that child can have impact far beyond what we ever imagine.
That's right, Major Jamie. Sometimes in the Army, we tend to bucket our children, right? We say these are our core kids, these are our club kids, these are our camp kids. And, like you said, if we have a less narrow focus and we just say, hey, these are all of our kids, and we consider the club as part of the core kids, they're our kids. We have to work those relationships with all of them. And it'll pay dividends.
Every single person under the age of 18 in your city is your kid. Yeah. So, all right, Mark, Roberta, there are people out there listening to this that are saying, I want to understand some more. Where do they go? Where do they go to find out more about this stuff? Do they just go to bgca.com? What's the call?
Well, I got to tell you, it's always never a bad idea to do a little research on your own. Of course, learning about Boys and Girls Clubs of America is going to be helpful. So you go to bgca.org, bgca.org. But if outside the Southern Territory, if you want to have a further conversation based on information that people have learned, again, this will be outside the Southern Territory. I would say they need to talk to our liaison with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. His name is Greg Parker. Again, his name is Greg Parker, and his email address is gparker@bgca.org. Say that right, Roberta?
I think so.
gparker@bgca.org. of course.
Now, Mark, he would be for the entire nation, correct?
He would be for the Western Territory, and the Central Territory, and the Eastern Territory
yes.
at the moment for yes.
Okay.
And the Southern Territory, since my position has been very well established for many, many years, and we do operate the largest number of Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs, and they would be in contact with myself, and I can be reached at mark.jeffrey@uss.salvationarmy.org. And I just spell my last name for folks in case they flip it around, but that's JEFFREY.
Mark, if people are interested in reaching out to you from other territories, since you and Roberta are the Boys and Girls Club really department for the nation right now, it seems like, is it okay if they reach out to you directly if need be to answer some questions?
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to talk to folks from other territories, and I've done so many times before. So.
And can I just say that on Ministry Toolkit, if you search your BGCA2, there is also a video that shows basically the partnership in a nutshell, gives all the details. So if someone's kind of interested in learning a bit more, all of what we said, plus a lot more within 5 minutes in a really good video, kind of shows that on Ministry Toolkit and kind of gives a little bit more of a deeper understanding of what that partnership is.
What about, we do have a couple of listeners that are in other countries. I know this is the Boys and Girls Club of America, but is there anything that we do with Canada?
Canada! I'm from Canada! I'm Canadian!
By the way, Roberta, I know you're from Newfoundland, and I don't want to edit this out. This needs to stay in here, but I heard somebody the other day say that Newfoundland is basically the Alabama of Canada. Thoughts on that statement?
So? Okay, and it's not Newfoundland. It's Newfoundland.
That's what I said.
Man, Newfoundland. Anyway, so
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make this a Canadian podcast. My apologies to that.
That's all right. But nothing is offered in Canada. Actually, Mark's going to have to answer that.
I mean, there is a Boys and Girls Club of Canada,
Oh.
but Boys and Girls Clubs of America and Boys and Girls Club of Canada, they are two totally different. It's not like an international organization like the Salvation Army.
Sure.
Two totally different orgs. I don't know much about BGCA in Canada, to be honest.
Yeah, no worries.
I do know they exist.
Yeah. All right. What else? Go ahead, Major Jamie.
No, I was just going to say, before we move on to our last question of the week, is there anything that you feel like our listeners should just, like, it would be a travesty if we closed out this podcast without
last
them
words
knowing?
For the BGCA and Salvation Army partnership.
Okay, I think it would be an absolute travesty if we didn't mention, no, but seriously, that there are some myths out there, even within our own territory, where there are officers or Salvationists, employees who may think that there is not the freedom to offer the gospel in a Boys and Girls Club. That is completely false. We have it in writing. It's an agreement we have with Boys and Girls Club. There are no restrictions. We have it. It's even in the video that I just said to go to, where the chief operating officer of the Boys and Girls Club of America, who is an alum, who has worked with Eddie Hobgood in the Boys and Girls Club. Anyway, side note, she says straight out, there are no restrictions. There is the freedom to preach the gospel and use Jesus' name to offer these kids a holistic ministry within the club. So that's for our own folks in our own territory to hear as well, because that does exist out there. That myth exists out there, but it is a myth and just that. And there's full freedom to preach the gospel.
That's great. That's very important to say. I hope everybody heard that. That was a way to be a myth buster there, Roberta. Way to go. Yeah, that's important.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Mark, anything else you wanna before we ask the last question, just to put out there?
No, I think that sums it up. Roberta hit the nail on the head. That's what Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs are about. That's what differentiates us from a traditional Boys and Girls Club, is our spiritual development. And since we're allowed to do it, it's expected, and we should be doing it. So thanks for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So at the end of every episode, we ask this question we always love to hear from our guests. What is bringing you joy this week?
It doesn't have to be, like, I always got to put a disclaimer. It could be anything.
It could be spiritual. It could be Reese cups. It could be whatever you want it to be. What's giving you joy?
Well, this week, since you've, narrowed it down to the last 8 days, I would say what brings me joy is my pumpkin spice latte and my It's Nothing But Hocus Pocus mug and my cinnamon candles that I have lit and the decorations that my husband Nick says is way too early to put out. I actually read a meme there the other day that everyone who celebrates fall this early is a life ruiner. I don't know where he is. A life ruiner. But that's bringing me joy this week. Just fall this season. Love it.
I think on September 1, you should be fair game to put out your fall stuff.
Right?
Was your fall stuff out before September 1, Roberta?
No, Labor Day. I do it after Labor Day.
Okay. See, let's tell your husband to back off. It's cool.
Thank you.
That's cool. How about you, Mark?
Well, I'm a graduate of the University of Georgia, so I got to tell you,
we'll edit that out. Don't worry.
I am really enjoying the Georgia Bulldogs football season so far, and look forward to a game every Saturday. And my 12-year-old son is all about it, and we watch them together, so that's a great time. And we're gonna go to a couple games here soon. So
when was the last time you caught a game in Athens?
Last year, but we'll be going to the Vandy and Tennessee game, so that'll be in Athens. I like to wait until it gets a little cooler. It just gets hot in Athens, man. sitting in that sun watching a football game.
For sure.
Cold for the heat, man.
I'm a Florida Gator fan through and through, but I have been to Sanford Stadium, and I will say there is nothing like a game at Sanford Stadium. It is insane. It is insane.
It's intense.
Sure. Yeah.
It's intense. We bring headphones.
Right.
All right, Elizabeth, what's bringing you joy this week?
Okay, we're talking football, and I won my first fantasy game this week, so I'm totally stoked.
This is Elizabeth's first time playing fantasy football. I was so proud that she texted the Battle Line podcasters and was like, "Who should I pick in my fantasy football thing?"
I am taking down the boys.
Did you take Josh Allen like I instructed you to?
He was not on the table.
He was off the board.
I was instructed to
board.
pick quarterbacks after the wide receivers, the tight ends, and the RBs.
Yeah,
the RBs. I like that.
I don't know what that means, but RBs.
It's a fast food.
What any of this means?
It's a fast food restaurant.
All
Arby's.
right.
Elizabeth, who is your quarterback? Who did you get?
Okay.
She took Jimmy Garoppolo because of the way he looks.
I was going to mention Jimmy Garoppolo as my joy, but I couldn't because, Trey Lance is injured. I didn't want to do that. But my quarterback is Kyler Murray, who's a total snooze. But my backup is Tua, and he got 40 points this week. So he's my team fixture. I'm team Tua all the way, but he's still on my bench. So,
listen, you were talking to. Go ahead, Roberta.
I'm just going to watch my Dancing with the Stars.
I watched that too. I had it both on last night.
The split screen.
No commercials. It was wild.
You are speaking the lingo amazing right now. It's awesome. All right,
Fake it till you make it, Elizabeth.
How about you, Jamie? What's giving you joy?
Listen, for me, it's like I said at the beginning, the promise of all things fall. Roberta, don't feel bad. My house is decorated for fall. I was like, nope, it's such a short window. Yes. We're doing it. Yes. The weather's cooperating. It was in the 60s when I left the house this morning. Mm-hmm. I was all about that. All the fall drinks are at Starbucks. Mm-hmm. I made pumpkin bread this week. Mm. We're living our best fall life over here at the Satterley house. Nice. I am. I don't know how much Matt loves it, but I'm just like, listen.
We have squirrels dressed like pilgrims in our house right now.
Listen, those are from the children. Susanna found them in a cabinet somewhere and was like, "Mom, look how cute. We have to put these out." Pilgrim squirrels. I'm like, I don't even know why we own those, but okay.
The problem is nobody on this podcast, we don't do the visuals, so nobody just saw the squirrel holding in the pilgrim outfit that I just saw.
Yes. For our listeners who can't see, somewhere my daughter found salt and pepper shakers of squirrels dressed as pilgrims. So they are on our table.
I think I've said football season for me the last 3-4 episodes, so it's still that. But also, this is the time of year. Is it still that, Matt? Is it still giving you joy, football season? Because I think if the listeners could have heard our house on Saturday, they would have not considered. Edit all of this. Edit all of her out. Joy. So, for me, I think right now we have officers' councils coming up, and I know there are a lot of people out there who are like, officers' council. councils. I don't want to be away from my kids. I hate this. But you know what? I always enjoy officers' councils. It's a good time to get together with other people, like-minded people who are doing the same thing. So I like officers' councils. It's nice in the fall just to get away and hang out with some friends for a while. So that's
also spiritual refreshment, Matt, which is the point. You're supposed to say that part.
Just edit out too. So, Roberta, Mark, thank you guys so much for being on here with us again. We'll try to get those emails addresses again. If you missed those, you can go back and you can listen to them again, or we'll try to see if we can get those from Mark and Roberta. Notes. We'll put them in the show notes so that way you can, if you're interested in more, you can click there as well. So, excellent. Mark, Roberta, thanks so much. Yeah,
thanks so much, guys.
Yep. Happy fall.
That's going to end this episode of the Battle Line podcast. So be sure to subscribe to the Battle Line wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out the Peer website at peermag.org and follow Peer on the socials at peer.magazine. Until next time, this has been the Battle Line podcast. Bye, everybody.
See ya.